Hello, hello, hello. Okay, this is a special treat for me because I always love having James Romick as a guest on the Narrator's Cup of Joe. He's
Really? Why?
yeah, you're one of our
Really?
veterans. And
Okay.
the thing is like you don't make me work. Like I never have to worry about you having an awkward moment because like you're comfortable with people.
Yeah.
You're
Wait, you
not
asked me a question.
shy.
I'll talk for 10 minutes about myself. Go ahead.
I love that. I love people like that because we should be delighted in ourselves. We should. All of us should. When you're a little kid, you're delighted in yourself, and that's beaten out of us when you get older, isn't
Well,
it?
hold on. I got to show you something because this is what you put up, but this is that little kid.
Oh, and that's one of my favorite pictures ever.
That's my Jimmy Zorro right there.
I don't think we should lose sight of that. I've got my new dopamine room, and I've got like Hollywood pictures. I've got some pictures of me like at my height of glamour when I was
Yeah.
in burlesque, and my friend was like, "You have pictures of yourself?"
Well, see, and that the impetus for that really is that's the 8 by 10 that I had blown up when I first moved to New York. I brought that the old picture with me.
Can
The
I
one,
stop you real
sure.
quick? And I will edit this moment out. Tilt your computer down and just I don't want your mouth cut off during the call.
Okay. This?
Yeah, I should have caught it earlier.
Okay.
Yes, much better, much better.
Much better.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry,
I got my little
continue that thought.
Scotty t-shirt on. Okay. So I'm taking Joel Frumpkin's class right now. And the first class, he does this thing where you get an object, something that if your house caught on fire, you would grab above everything else. Just that. Given that your wife and your kids and your dogs and all that kind of stuff are going to get out okay, but there's one thing that you want and you have to have it, and it's the one thing that you would save above everything else, and it's that picture of me
Oh.
taken back in well, it was Christmas of 1958 because my younger brother hadn't been born yet. My mother was pregnant. He was born in March of 59. And when they developed pictures in those days, they put a date in the margin. And the date in the margin is June 59, which means that my mother didn't get the film developed until 6 months after she'd taken the picture. So it was so it was Christmas of 58. Eisenhower was president. I was 2.5 years old. I was born in June 56. So I was 2.5 years old. So that like is my earliest memory of my little Zorro costume. And it's the thing that I brought to the class. Everybody was bringing, little physical things that they could hold and touch and everything. And that's, part of Joel's class structure. But that picture is meaningful to me because that is, first of all, I think my earliest sentient memory of being alive, for one. And for two, it is probably the most innocent I have ever been in my life.
Oh.
And every time I look at that, it makes me smile because I remember that. And I think at the end, Joel said, you talk about your object and all this kind of stuff. And he said, if you were to say something, and I said, no, he wants to say something to me. And Joel says, what is that? I said, come play with me.
Oh, it's a touchstone to who you really are in your
Yeah.
heart, isn't it?
Yeah. Because I'm that kid. I want to be that kid. I mean, I've been through the Kennedy assassination, I've been through Watergate, I've been through all the crap that we've gone through in our lifetime. I mean, I just turned, what, 69 in June.
Can I
So,
ask you a question? Can I
sure.
stop you? I'm really curious about this, and I wonder, I'm not sure if this is one of those things Daniela says that she edits out because it makes her look like a horrible human being. But you're like the fourth person I've had a conversation where you're talking about the things you've been through,
Uh-huh.
and they're all things outside. They're all like world events things. Whereas it would never even occur to me to say I've been through the pandemic or this or that. It never even would occur to me. The things I've been through are like personally what I've been through. And I'm wondering, do you feel connected to the world in that what happens to the world rocks you and changes you? Because I feel like maybe I'm missing that connection. Like I've never been affected when a celebrity dies or a major
Well,
event
yeah,
happens.
and here's a case in point, I think. As you know, I'm also a woodworker. That's the thing that I do. And one of my mentors just died last week, and he was 81. He was a really, really nice guy. Uh, just an original a free spirit.
See,
He
that's
looked,
not the outside world though. That's
yeah,
you.
yeah, but he looked
That's
like Santa Claus. But when I not lost touch with him, but I haven't really spoken to him in maybe the last 10, 15 years. But I was sad of his passing, because he was such a uh, he touched a lot of people's lives, not just mine, but he
yeah,
touched a lot of
but
people's
that's the
lives.
kind of thing that upsets me. A Facebook friend who, to be fair, he just liked a few books when I first started, and then always said encouraging things and sent messages, a guy from the UK.
Hmm.
And I was like, where is Alan? The other day I was like, I haven't heard from Alan. And this is like the third person on Facebook this has happened. It's just Facebook. And I looked at his page and he passed away. I was like depressed for a week because that felt personal because I knew him.
Well,
But
you
like
didn't
if
kill him,
something
did you?
had, but I mean, yeah, you don't know them on Facebook, but you've touched as human beings. I've had two writers pass away and
Yeah,
I felt gutted. But things like politics, the outside
politics.
world, I don't get affected like that.
I do. I do. And it brings out the curmudgeon in me, I think, for the
I get
most part.
angry. I get angry.
Well, I get angry, but I don't get what I want to say is I don't internalize it. I externalize it. I am outspoken. I am a demonstrative person, and I won't let those voices be the loudest voices in the room. I will be a loud voice too. I'm like a bulldog. I will hold on to a chew toy and shake it until it is absolutely dead. You can't shut Jim up sometimes. You
I
just
like
can't.
that. Those are my favorite kind of people.
Yeah.
You've taken your place in the world and you're going to fight for your place in the world. And
Yeah.
you stand firm in your footsteps. Those are the people that all the great books were written about, aren't they?
Yeah, it's like the thing that one thing that Johnny Heller and I have in common is we don't suffer from imposter syndrome. If anything, I'm is the exact opposite. I
Yeah,
am
there's no other
no.
Johnny Heller or
Yeah.
James Romick.
Yeah, but if anything, I'm in the extreme, in the opposite, in the extreme, because I always have been super overconfident in things. I've been wrong. I've stepped out of bounds quite a bit, but even coming up from the time I think it began in eighth grade, my first semester, we had 6 weeks, I think it was, in grade school. My first 6 weeks, I got straight A's, and I didn't even work hard at it. And I went, shit, I'm smart.
When's
And
your
that's when
birthday again?
June
What,
6th.
you're a Gemini.
Yeah.
Ha!
Yeah.
I
But
should have
it
known.
was the first time, I mean, going back to the picture, remembering being thinking a live human being, that was the first time that I realized that I was actually smart. And then I had an opinion, and people would listen to me, and people looked up to me. I was always caught, when we played Army in the backyard, I always had to be the captain. When we played Cowboys and Indians, I always had to be the guy with the 6 shooters and the holsters. I always had to be that leader, and I was very comfortable in my skin that way. I was never under anybody's thumb. But at the same time, going to this other thing, I will not let them be the loudest people in the room.
What about the herd? How do you fit in with the herd? Do you try to fit in with the herd? Does the herd like
I
you,
they
or are
they
you
follow
on the
me.
outside?
They follow me. I don't follow the herd. They follow me.
I
I
love
mean,
that.
in a party, situation or something like that, maybe I'll not be a wallflower, but I'll sit back and observe. But I will, not that stick my nose in the air or any trying to be snooty or anything, but I am just as valuable a person in that room as anybody else in that room. I have met a lot of famous people and been impressed by some famous people, but by and large, they're just people. They put their pants on one leg at a time, like I do. They they piss and shit like I do. I mean, this it is what it is. I mean, the most influential person, the I want to say influential, the most striking person I think that I've ever met. Um, One time I was on for the Phantom, and sometimes people come back to the dressing room after you're done, and I'm coming back to the dressing room, taking my makeup off and everything, and this guy comes up to the dressing room that the dresser brings up, and he says um, his name is Harrison Schmitt. Now, nobody knows who Harrison Schmitt is unless you're a child of the space race. He was the last man to set foot on the moon.
Wow.
And he was the next to the last man to leave the moon because his partner who was on the moon was the last one to leave. But he was the last, he was a geologist. And he was, trained as an astronaut, but he was a geologist. And he was the last man to set foot on the moon. And this is the most impressive person I think I've ever met. And I said, this is nuts. I know you get asked this all the time, but what was it like? And he said the most profound thing that I have ever heard anybody say. You can't go out there and not think that something put this in motion.
Oh,
And that's
wow.
enough for me
Yeah.
because I am contradictory terms, but I'm a devout atheist. I don't believe.
Yeah, I am too.
And that is probably the most profound thing that anybody has ever said to me. And that's enough. I went through my Jesus freak stage. I went through my Buddhism phase. I went through all of that stuff when I was younger. And I credit my mother for that because she just let me go. She let me find out what and who I was rather than, again, under the thumb, you have to do this, you have to do that. So I was free to do a lot of things. And I
To,
found my own way.
okay, let me ask you something.
That's what
I'd
this
love
is for.
I'd love your opinion about something.
Oh God.
Um,
Sorry, I didn't
yeah.
mean to use that word.
Well, no, the problem is that like I found that I can learn a lot from the people on these calls because they're so wise. But then I end up turning every single call into my personal therapy session.
Yeah.
So I'm going to avoid that in this instance, but I am interested in your opinion. When
Okay.
we first start narrating audiobooks,
Right.
we most of us take on the perceived wisdom. We go to coaches, we learn what people are looking for, what they like, and nowhere more so than when we create our websites.
Yeah.
What's the face we're going to put to the world? My website went through many, many different changes. Um, at first, I had so much fun. Oh my gosh, I get to show off all these things. I didn't look at the
Yeah.
pretty covers and look at my voiceover work, and I'm amazing. I had so
Yeah, it
much
looks
fun.
nice to you, but is it going to be attractive to anybody else?
Yeah, and I kept looking. But you see, that's the key to it is being attractive to anyone else. Because you know how they keep saying be authentic. Everyone wants authentic. But then I had someone on a recent call that was talking about meritocracy. And she said, and you'll know this more than ever, working as Phantom and getting cast in things. She was like, it's not to do with how talented you are if you get the part most of the time. It's to do with they already have three blondes at that height and they need to fill a slot, or they already have too many of your type. That's not really an audio, but it was kind of is in audiobooks. They already have all those voices, you know. What do you do? How do you find the magic ingredient? I'm right now going into my website and undoing some of the things I was told don't ever, ever do. I'm going to do them because now I'm old enough and grumpy enough that I couldn't care less. But how do
DGF.
you marry that?
DGAF. Don't give a fuck.
Yeah. But that's the thing. How do you marry authenticity, like you said you and Johnny do, which I think you're right, I agree. Um, with you don't I don't fit in. My taste isn't what anyone's taste is.
I don't know why you keep on saying that though. I mean, I've been on a lot of these calls and I've heard you say that a lot, and I think you're wrong.
Really?
I think you do fit in. I think there's something that's keeping you from thinking that you do fit in or
When I
feeling
hold
that you
things
do
up to
fit
the
in.
world and say, "Oh my God, this is amazing," I get a very polite, blank, kind of embarrassed reaction at all times
So
on
from
most instances
from whom?
from everyone,
Well,
from
then
my
fuck them.
style,
I
my
mean,
clothes,
that's
my
just
taste.
no, that's just my thing. Fuck them. What who cares about their fucking
But then
opinion?
how do
Be
you marry
happy
that to
with
your website and you're doing things properly and not looking like there's too much going on and not too many colors and it's got to be white with black text so people can read it? How do you follow the rules while breaking the rules?
it's that old phrase. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. So
Good
don't
one.
listen to assholes. I mean, listen to people who may know what they're talking about. There are so many people on Facebook. I mean, I really have to wean myself off of this thing because I use it to procrastinate, and I also use it to try to help people if they need help. I think maybe
You
I
spend
know
a
enough.
lot of time helping people, though.
Yeah,
I do
but
have to say
still, it's like I get so frustrated sometimes when people chime in with things that they know nothing about.
that they could have found out with a quick Google search.
Well, not only that, but I mean, and I think, somewhere along the line, I've been guilty of it myself, and I have been wrong. But when the people who know and that who know smack you down a couple of times, you find out that, oh, yeah, I should listen to this person.
Yeah.
So you have to pick and choose who you place your trust in and who really is telling you what you not what you want to know but you think you need to know or can actually help you from the people who just have these opinions that aren't that and 2 bucks and a quarter will get you a good cup of Starbucks. I
And some
mean,
of their opinions are good for them, but they're not necessarily.
well,
Kaylee
yeah,
just said, love how helpful James is.
yeah,
And everyone does. And that's the truth. You spend an inordinate amount of time helping
inordinate, say that
people.
word 3 times fast. We talk for
Inordinate,
a living, yeah.
inordinate, inordinate. But you help. But that might be partly like when people say, well, you don't make any money on Cup of Joe. Somebody nicely said to me, I looked at your numbers. You can't possibly be making any money. I don't know why you do it. Um, but
Why?
but the thing is you get something back, don't you? Because you're
Well, I do. I
going
mean,
outward.
it's. I mean, some of it has to be the psyche of an actor, I guess. We're all looking for praise or acceptance or whatever the heck it is, and yeah, I have felt that at times in my life where the audience is all standing up and they're cheering, and I haven't even come out to take my bow yet, but they're all on their feet, and you can't even shush them down if you wanted to. And then there are times when, like, is there anybody out there? I can hear you breathing, when you just fall flat on your face. And I think it's amazing in live theater, and this is a tangent, I'm sorry, but in the live theater, I think it's amazing how at the Majestic Theater, it's at 1,650 people. And it
Wow.
was amazing how that group of people can just turn on you on a dime. It's
But do
like
you know what Karen
either they love
Cummins
you or
does?
it's like crickets.
But you know what Karen Cummins does, and I love that idea. And then I heard somewhere else, she's got a little thing. I'm sure she said this out loud. I don't think she minds me sharing this. She's got this laughter track, no, clapping and cheering track, and she'll play it when like something. And then I read somewhere an idea, set it as your alarm clock. So you wake up to the
Yeah.
sound of people clapping and cheering for you.
Well, to get off of that whole tangent, back to what we were talking about, though, is the acceptance and listening to people and um, being satisfied with what you do. Uh,
I have a
it's
problem listening to people. I have a problem
well, I don't.
knowing.
You wouldn't be doing this if you had a problem listening to people. You listen
No,
to me for
not
crying
like
out
that,
loud.
but like I think I can see both sides. So when I get advice about something, I think I've been doing it too long, so I've developed really strong opinions myself.
Well,
But
there's nothing wrong with that.
but then you're right, some of the veterans have very sound advice for a reason.
Yeah, because I mean, whatever some things are, were particular to them and they worked for them. I mean, there are things that I know that Johnny does, or that Sean Pratt does, or that Joel does, or that a lot of other of the, big name coaches do that would not work for me.
I
It's
think
the
that's
same
that
thing.
right there. You have to
Yeah,
ask
it's the
yourself,
same thing with the show. When I was studying to be the understudy for the Phantom, I had to go to Lincoln Center and watch the show. They archive the footage of, like
is it
not
hard
opening
on
night.
your ego being an understudy?
No, no.
You don't
It's
feel
no, it's
second
part of the
then?
job. Not when you get the paycheck. No, it's not
I
hard
want
on
I
your
want to
ego at
interrupt
all.
real quick. I'm going to catch us up with the comments before I lose the thread.
Okay.
Jonathan says James is very patient with me, the Reaper Luddite. Kim says money can't feed your soul. Right there with you, Kim. And
Well,
Jonathan says what I see as a problem, James sees as an opportunity. Okay, we're caught up.
I'm a troubleshooter. I mean, Jonathan has come to me with several problems, and it was like, oh, let me try this, let me try this, let me try this, let me try this, and we'll go through several steps, and by process of elimination, most of the time, I think we've come up with the answer. But that's what I do is I troubleshoot and I break things down into their components. It's the same thing that I do with my woodworking. It's the same thing that I do with problems that I have in my life, like my weed whacker doesn't work. Why isn't it working? I figure things out. I have that kind of an analytical brain, which is
When you
why
wake
I
up in the morning, what are you thinking? When you wake up in the morning, are you thinking, I'm
coffee,
excited about my
coffee.
day?
I need coffee.
Do you,
No,
is that seriously though? What's your first drive in the morning
my
mentally? I'm
first
excited
drive
about my
is
day, what I have to get done.
no. My first drive is to get the dogs fed, get the coffee done, get the dogs out, and then I'll watch the news. I'll take a nap watching the news because my dogs get me up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my
So
God.
by
Oh, get a bird,
6:37,
James. Get a
I
bird. He waits till 9.
I can't. I have to have my. Um, no, I go through the morning routine. But then after that, I, I don't know that I actually plan. A lot of people are really anal about that. They have to have this structure, and there are too many obstacles in the way for me. So it depends on, if there's a thunderstorm. Okay, shit, I can't record right now because there's a thunderstorm. So what else can I do? Or there's road work being done up the street. Oh, damn, I can't record. So what else am I going to do? But when it's quiet time, um I'm in there, and even on Sundays when my wife is home and everything and she wants to go watch television and she knocks on the door, can we watch television? Give me another 10 minutes or so, I need to finish this chapter. um I do what I need to do when I need to do it, and sometimes I fall behind, but I I don't pressure well, I do, but I don't. I mean, there was a time when I had too much and I bit all my fingernails off. But now I try not to do that now. I mean, I don't know that I've auditioned for anything in months because I just don't want to take on the work right now. I've got too much on my plate.
Yeah, I had an epiphany. I'm not happy unless I have an unholy
In
amount of work ahead of me. I'm not happy. So I like literally I get a dopamine hit by taking too much on. and then I get another dopamine hit by pushing myself to finish it. I don't care anymore if it's good for me or not. I'm not going to
Well,
change. I'm too old.
to circle back to kind of what we began this little tangent with is that the things that I do on Facebook to help people are the things, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
doing a thing for the SAG VO Lab tomorrow afternoon, and it's like my second ever kind of group coaching session for
Are
audiobooks.
you taking private students now?
They're not flocking to my door, no, but I mean,
James, you need to get out there. You need to out it because you are a coach. You are a coach. You're just giving it away all for free.
yeah, well, that's it again, it goes back to the money thing. I'm collecting my actor's equity pension, I'm collecting my social security, my house is paid off, my cars are paid off, I've got
Can
investments
I
all
challenge
over the
you?
place.
Can I challenge you? If people paid you,
Oh, I'll take their money, sure.
they would take your wisdom and handle it more carefully and use it because they feel that they own it.
Yeah, I
If
would
you give it just as help, people tend to set it aside.
yeah, because I
People
think I would
value what they
be,
pay
if I do
for.
that, I would be more in the mold of a Johnny Heller rather than, or a Carol Monda rather
You
than,
already are.
well, rather than Sean Pratt, who has a structured program,
Yeah,
or Joel, who has a structured program.
yeah.
What a lot of people said to me, why are you taking Joel's class? You've been an actor for like 40 years. Why are you taking Joel's class? And
Because
it's
you're a
like,
professional actor that
I
continues to grow.
yeah, I have never taken a formal acting class. I've had coaches, but as a structured, I don't have a BFA in theater. I've got a bachelor's in music in education. I was a voice major. So everything I know about theater is from what I've done on stage and trying to get work. And am one of those actors where I don't play around backstage. If I'm not on, I'm watching the other actors to see what they're doing because it's a learning experience for me, which is why I listen to certain narrators, and I'm trying to branch out and listen to more and more different narrators to study their technique and what they're doing. Yeah, it's for pleasure too, yeah, but I every now and then I'll pick somebody who I haven't really, that I sort of know through the groups or whatever, but I've never really listened to their work. And, sometimes I've been severely disappointed, and sometimes it was like, oh, I want to listen to more of that.
It's ruined my audiobook listening. It's ruined my audiobook listening. I can't,
How?
it's because I don't, when I listen to an audiobook, I literally forget that somebody's written it and I forget that somebody's narrating it. And if I know the person, it's like that's there. And then I'm listening to the narration. I can't lose myself in it completely because I'm listening to the narration.
Well, that might be the right brain, left brain understudy kind of thing because I can do that. I'm able to separate and combine, so I can
Yeah.
compartmentalize that way. I've always been able to do that too.
I can't do it. I can't do it. My daytime self starts perking up. When I listen to an audiobook, I'm gone. Like my it's like a that part of my
Well,
brain just turns off.
there's something to be said for escapism, sure,
Yeah.
and pleasure, sure, and I have that myself too, sure, but there are those times when maybe I'm stuck narrating something and I really want a different perspective on how can I tackle this. I'll listen to one of my favorite narrators and say, oh, okay, so I this has to be easier, this has to be smoother, this has to I got to put some different emphasis on the different syllable because this doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I can do that with narrators like Jeff Harding. He's my go-to.
Hmm.
And I have met him on a Joe call now, but he was a narrator to me before he was a person. He was a voice before he was a person. To me, though, it's like Rhoda. I've been watching the old Rhoda,
Uh-huh.
Mary Tyler Moore Rhoda, and it's like she was Rhoda. I don't have a clue who the actress's name was. I have no clue. That's why I never liked looking at awards or anything. I don't want to know that they're not who they play. I don't want it to like burst my little bubble. In the UK, they use all the same actresses for all the same kind of parts all the time now. And you can't watch anything because it's the same person. You start seeing her as her and not the character. I like a character to make me forget.
Well, that's why Meryl Streep is so good.
Oh, yes, yes, yes,
Because
yes.
she's her, but she also absorbs that other person.
She
She
makes you forget
becomes,
she's
yeah.
her
I mean,
immediately.
watching her on Only Murders in the Building with Martin Short, my God.
And until
Again,
you
that
said that, I
word.
hadn't even put it together that that was Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
But she was just such a ditz, but it was just so fun to watch. And then you think, oh, this is the same person that did Sophie's Choice. Christ.
Yeah, see, I never even, and that's where I don't want my mind to go. I want the actor
Yeah.
in me
When
gone.
she did Into the Woods, I mean, pff, damn.
Yeah,
Uh,
Kim says they look
Whatever you
like they're
think.
having so much fun on Only
Yeah.
Murder in the Building, and that I think
Well, it's starting to get a little silly now, though.
I haven't. I'm
I
waiting
think
for the
there's
new
one more
season.
season. I think that's going to be it. But the first season was really fun, and then the second season was fun, and now it's starting to get just a little silly.
I'm
So,
feeling very discouraged with the state of entertainment these days. I'm literally rewatching The Golden Girls, Newhart, and Rhoda.
well, what I want to do is I just bought the box set. I just read the book too about the West Wing. It
I've never
was
seen that.
oh, it's probably some of the best television that was on TV. I think it
Is it
ran for
all
like
politics? It's too much politics, though,
well,
isn't
not really. It's kind of like the behind the scenes kind of stuff. It was originally intended to be about staff rather than the POTUS. And then Martin Sheen came in and started chewing up the scenery. So,
it?
but it really is some great television. There's some great acting going on, and Alan's what's his name, Sorkin, the guy who wrote it, wrote the first two seasons anyway. They call them walk and talks uh, because it just moves all the time, and it's just it never stops, and the patter is very fast, and the acting is really really good. Um, the only other thing that I can liken it to, what was that one thing that just came out? It was a British import where they shot the whole thing with a single camera, and it was just amazing.
I think
And
I know what you're
yeah,
talking
I saw
about.
some behind the scenes stuff. It was this kid that was supposed to have murdered somebody, and his father.
Adolescence.
Yes,
Adolescent.
that was so fucking good. And I was watching the first 10 minutes of it, and I'm going, this is all one shot, and it just kept on going, and it's like it's all one camera.
The
There are
acting was
no
great. The camera was good. I have a when I'm over here, it's a little too close to home.
yeah, but that kid was amazing,
Yeah.
amazing actor.
I thought the father was really, really good too.
Well, I think he produced it too. I think he was the guy that produced it.
There's a comment, and I need to interject because I don't understand what it means. Kim says they may be jumping the shark soon.
Oh,
What am I
that goes
missing? Who's
back
the
that goes
shark?
back to Happy Days. You know what jumping the shark is?
No.
Okay. So when Happy Days was on its way, out, they had a scene where Fonzie was on skis and he was jumping over sharks. And that's what they call jumping the shark when you've
Oh, I
just gone,
missed that.
yeah, you've just gone too far and it's starting to go into the dumper. So that's where jumping the shark came from.
And that's only Murders in the Building. See, I haven't seen the last season yet. I think we might get it later than you guys get it.
Yeah, I don't think it's out yet.
Do you know who else is amazing? Um, the new Matlock with
Oh yeah,
Kathy.
my wife likes that.
It's
I
the actress, Kathy
Kathy
Bates.
Bates, yeah.
Oh my God, I
Oh,
love
she's
her.
a wonderful actress.
I could just watch her
To
all.
see her
Some
with
people light up the screen.
James Caan, and what was that? Misery. Oh,
Yeah.
frightening.
But she's another one like Meryl Streep. She's
Yeah.
like completely makes you forget who she is.
Yeah,
I
she was, I
admire
think
the
she was
hell
the
out of
original
that.
in Steel Magnolias off Broadway too. She was in the original cast of Steel Magnolias.
And then the other, this is like my life goal. Do you know you know Harold and Maude?
Yeah.
I'm horrible with names. That's why I can never, is it Ruth Gordon?
Uh, might have
I
been.
think it's Ruth Gordon. I saw her in Newhart the other day. She was like, it was like a month before she died. She was like
Uh,
95 or something. And it was like a cameo. She played the guy's mother. And she ate them
oh
alive.
yeah, yeah.
The life force. You didn't care about anyone else in the room. And she wasn't stealing anything. You just, your eyes were locked on her. I want to find out what that is. I
Well,
want that.
yeah, well, it also goes back to this is another tangent. When before I got in the show, I was the doorman for a chorus line at the Schubert Theater.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
for a
That's
chorus
like
line.
the dream.
Well, it was like one of my top three favorite shows. And the nice thing is my last night there, they let me sing backstage. So Chorus Line was actually my first Broadway show because I got to sing the finale backstage with the rest of the cast.
Wow.
But um, they used to have special events, and I was the night doorman. So during the special events, people, there would be all these people, Morgan Freeman and Tommy Tune and Joel Gray and
Joel
uh,
Gray. Did you
yeah,
meet Joel Gray?
yeah. Well, he came in with Tommy Tune, and I said, "You two guys should get a show together. Call it the long and the short of it." And they didn't laugh because Tommy Tune is like 7 foot tall and Joel Gray is like 3 foot tall, and seeing them together was like
Joel
weird.
Gray, though. Wow. You were in the same
And
room. Did Joel Gray have that like star quality?
well, that's what I was getting to is that when these people are coming through, it was who was it? I can't think of her name right now. Body double. No, what was her name? The one with the smoky voice, the actress with the smoky
Oh,
voice.
Catherine Turner?
Yeah, Kathleen Turner.
Yeah,
She
Kathleen
was there
Turner.
too. And she said to me, "My husband's going to show up, and if you can tell him, wait a minute." And I say, "If he doesn't, if he doesn't come, I'll take you home." She didn't laugh at that either. But this is the kind of balls I have, right? I'm like only 30 years old, and Kathleen Turner wants to have a date with me, sure. Um, but
Nice
as
to
these
dream,
people
though.
came in, yeah, meet regular people off the street, but there is something called star quality. And
Yeah, there
when these
is.
people would come in the door, there was something that radiated about them. Not everyone, but I mean, there were certain people that just radiated this thing. They didn't say a word. They didn't, you know, do anything. It wasn't a look. It wasn't anything. There was just this aura, this something that was just radiating from their bodies, which was really exciting to be
And
around.
Marilyn Monroe was famous for being able to turn it on and off. Remember that journalist worked with her and said she was like just a normal person, no one noticed, and then she turned. And I met someone, a burlesque instructor in London, and it was a long story, but I was feeling I had lost a lot of weight and I still thought I was fat. And like they're all 20 years old in corsets and gorgeous. Not the instructor, but the kid and they had me stand in front of a mirror and they stood in front of me, each one of them, to show me, no, you are not. You're not seeing it. And I was still whining a bit on our way back. We were walking to the tube and she had like sweats on and like a sweatshirt. And she was a very blunt, wonderful person, but she's very blunt. Like I was a little scared of her. And she went, "Oh, for fuck's sake. I guess I'm gonna have to show you." And I was like, "What?" And we're on a tube, and this is London, and it was like 11 o'clock at night. And there were a couple of scared tourists, and then like a couple of people that like you don't make eye contact with. And she just walked across the tube car, but she like turned it on and walked across, and these sweats and sweats. And everyone was just, their eyes lit up and they're looking at her, and she walked back. By this point, the tourists had tears in their eyes and they were clapping for her. And all she had done was walk.
Yeah.
And I was like, that, I want that.
Well, see, that's also when I first got to New York, I hooked up with an acting coach that I would study privately with. I went to his apartment, for crying out loud, but he studied at the Royal Academy. And the difference between the, I want to say, English school, the British school of acting, and the American school of acting is very, very different.
Yeah,
You
very.
guys are over there are about technique. We're about slitting yourself open and showing our guts.
Hmm.
And I was never that kind of actor. This guy taught me how to enter and exit a stage. You know, don't cross your legs. It looks like you're going to pee. You know, that kind of stuff. The 3-point turn. And when you want to go that way, you take a step back and then head that way rather than go that way. One of the things on talk shows that really irks me when I watch it, and I watch this consciously, and I don't know why, but it just makes me nuts, is when people go to sit down. They get greeted by the host and they go to sit down, and more than half of them turn their butt to the audience. I would never do that. I was taught not to do that. You don't turn your butt to the audience. You
You
sort
don't
of,
turn your back to the audience if you can
well,
help it,
you
ever.
you can if there is a certain situation call for, but in that kind of situation where you want to show the best of yourself, you don't show your butt to the audience. You go to sit down, but you turn in a different way to sit down. And the really, really good, I mean, you would never see um, Helen Mirren show her butt to the
Yeah.
audience. Helen Mirren
No,
would
you
turn
wouldn't.
around because Colbert's had her on several times, and she turns the way you would turn to sit down, you know, into the desk with your butt turned into the desk, and then you sit down rather than turn all the way around and then sit down. But, you know, there are these other actors that just turn their butt to the audience, and it makes me crazy. I don't know why. It's just one of those things that I would never do. I would be very conscious of that.
But and you would think that if you get to the point that you're going to be on one of those talk shows, that you've had the training, how to present yourself,
No,
how to be
no,
interviewed.
because again, Americans want to slit their guts open and show you all the things that are going on inside. And that's not necessarily, in my idea of acting, a good thing. Yeah, it can be useful. Yeah, have I used a method a little bit? Sure, maybe. But I don't subscribe to any particular school of acting for that kind of thing. I audited a whole bunch of acting classes when I first got to New York, and there was one, and I can remember his name, but I won't mention who it is. Had this school, but right from the get-go, I audited one class, and all it was amateur psychology. They wanted to know why you hate your father, why you do this, why did you wet the bed when you were a kid? It's like, fuck you. Tell me how to get on stage. Tell me how to say my lines. Tell me how to
And you
react
feel a
to other
bit
people.
dirty. Once you've let that much out, you feel a bit dirty. But to be honest, social media is the same way now.
Oh, sure.
The whole authentic, oh my God, people use the idea of authenticity as we're not talking therapy, guys. We're not, we're, it's
If you
got to
need
be
therapy, go
packaged.
pay somebody, pay somebody who's qualified as a therapist.
Yeah, it's a strange world it is. It's a strange new world. And I've hadn't
Well,
realized
it's always been that way. I
it's
mean,
all,
this
and
was
it has,
even
you're
back in
right.
the 80s.
We think we live in such special times, but in the 70s, they thought they lived in special
Well,
times.
going back to my picture in the 50s during Eisenhower, I didn't know, the U-2 plane, and I didn't know all the stuff that was happening in Cuba. And my grandparents were visiting Cuba before Castro took over, for crying out loud. They had a little trailer in Florida, and they would, take a puddle jumper down to Cuba and for a day, and then they'd come back, and they'd bring little trinkets. But, when the world, I didn't know anything like that, but it's always been that way.
And it's
It's
going to go,
I
it's like
didn't know.
fashion. It goes in and out of season. I'm still waiting for the 80s hair to come back. But it's, I mean, I'm just waiting. Pretty soon abortion's going to be legal again. All the things that the people so vehemently say will never come back are going to come back. All the things that people here are fighting for are going to completely switch over to the other side until we all die from the damn heat, which is getting worse every
Well,
year.
it's really hot here today too. Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's almost 100 here today. Fahrenheit. Yeah, in
Well, I
Jersey.
never even knew of such a thing called humidity, that like it can be a normal temperature, but when it's 93 degrees humidity,
When the heat index, yeah.
thus the 2 a.m. haircutting. James, so what do you want in your career, your life? What are you striving for now? What would make you happy or feel fulfilled?
Not to make so many mistakes when I'm narrating. No, it's true. I would be happy with getting with doing good work and having people appreciate it, I think. Um uh I I don't know whether that's true or not. The only thing that I do know, if sales are any indication of anything, that the not this past month, but a month before that, I made more with, and I do not poo-poo royalty share at all, but I made more in royalties that month than I have ever made doing anything in a single month in my entire life.
That's brilliant. With a
And
bunch
it's
of royalty
and I
shares
showed it to my wife.
combined?
I showed the numbers to my wife, and he said, "Did they put the decimal point in the wrong place or
A
something?"
bunch of royalty shares combined, or just one in
Well, yeah, I
particular?
mean, it was the combined nut from everything that I've done. But this is one of the reasons why people, oh, I won't do royalty share. I only do per finished hour works. Like, you're cutting half of your potential out
Yeah, James,
because,
those people are shutting up now. Those people are
well,
all going, so how do I get the indie books?
if you choose wisely, and I mean, there is part art and part science, I think. But if you choose wisely, and particularly if you can get hooked into a series, which is what I've been trying to do, is hook myself into several series.
Do you reach out to
When
writers or do you find them through auditions?
Mostly through auditions. I'm not one of those great cold caller kind of people. I know that you and Karen Cummins and a lot of people are. Joe Hempel is really good at that kind of stuff and seeking out people. I think um, there are a bunch of names that are floating through my head that won't come out right now, but a lot of people are really good at that. I'm not. And I know that I'm not, and it's something that I'm not going to waste my time on because I know that I'm not good at
That's how I feel about showing up places and hugging and kissing people. A lot of people are wonderful at that and they're fulfilled. I'm happy for them, but like it's been 10 years. Let's not pretend. I'm
it.
not going to start doing it.
But it's one of those things where, yeah, I suppose you have to be comfortable with who you are and what your abilities are, and also on the other end of it, know what your strengths and what your weaknesses are.
You
I
mean
think
going to
I
places or reaching out to writers?
all of it, all of it.
Because
I
some of them
mean,
are mean. I've had some mean
well,
responses. You know,
then like fuck you and move on.
exactly. You've got to just not care. You have to have a thick skin and
Yeah.
just make
I
it a
mean,
number
at a
game.
local, it was a local free market here, someplace. There was an author who had written a book. He had wrote a book. I wrote a book. Um, a guy who I thought it was an interesting take on a certain subject. It was on Jack the Ripper.
Oh,
And the cover art wasn't terrific. He had all his little paperbacks there, and I bought one, and I thought, hey, have you ever thought about turning this into an audiobook? And he said, no, not really. And I said, well, I'm a narrator. And I introduced myself and I told him, how the business sort of works. And he was just not buying my bullshit. So I got the book. I started reading some of the book. I emailed him once to put one more pitch in and said, no, I'm not interested. And I figured, what the hell? And I put the book down. I didn't even bother reading the rest of the book. So, you know, I'm just not good at it. I just know I'm not good at it. Not that I can't take
it,
the rejection. I've taken rejection all my entire life, crying out loud.
yeah,
You
see,
don't
I don't
become,
like the
you become an
rejection
actor
very
to
much.
take rejection because we're masochists.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I still hate that ACX thing. I don't audition, or I didn't audition on ACX for years, but recently something caught my eye. I got
oh,
something,
I'm
but you know that email
having
they send? Unfortunately, you weren't chosen, and by then you'd completely forgotten you even auditioned. But thank you for reminding me that you didn't think I was good enough at 2 o'clock in the afternoon when I'm recording another audition.
well, I kind of went through that kind of thing recently. There was, and this was for my pseudonym because it was a Western, and I do Westerns and romance, cozy romances with my pseudonym and cozy Westerns. And this was one of those. And it was, I think, uh, kind of like not a clearinghouse, but there was kind of a production house that had a bunch of these authors. And I'm assuming that some of it was AI written because they're all short and formulaic, about maybe 3.5 to 5 hours long, kind of thing. So,
Hmm.
and some of them were series, and there was this one series that looked kind of interesting, and I wanted to test out, my Texas accent again because I wanted to kind of try to do some cowboy stuff, like J. Rodney, J. Rodney Turner. I ain't got a voice like his, but I
Nobody's
wanted to
got a
be
voice like J. Rodney.
J. Rodney Turner.
It's-
That smooth talking little kind of bourbon laced kind of thing there.
yeah.
And I auditioned for this book. I asked, wrote the supposed author, and then I got an email back or a message back from somebody else, which then I found out it was this clearinghouse kind of thing. And now I just try to avoid them like the plague. But I, under my pseudonym, contacted them and said, are you looking for somebody for this entire series? Because I noticed that you posted books, auditions for like 4 books in the same series. Why people do that, I don't know, because it's dumb. But I said, which one would you prefer that I audition for one? For two, um, are you looking for someone for the entire series? And I got in responses, yeah, we're looking for someone, and just audition for anyone that you want. So I just picked the first one because I figured, you're going to audition for the first one, for crying out loud. And that afternoon, I turned the audition in like in the morning, and that afternoon, well, you're not the voice we're looking for, but we'll keep you in mind for something else. It's like, okay, I've heard this
Well,
in my entire life.
okay, but I've got to tell you something. One thing I have learned from reaching out to indie authors. See that response? Just audition for anyone you want. That red flag,
Yeah, I
red
know.
flag, red flag, red flag. How much do you
Well, it
care? How
was,
invested are you?
yeah, no, and it was one of those times when I was in between procrastinating on Facebook, and I found this
Yeah.
this thing, and I didn't, I had an afternoon to kill, and I think my neighbors had their lawnmowers going and everything. I figured, they're not going to care whether there's a lawnmower in the background for an audition. What the hell? I don't care. So I auditioned for it. Well, you're not the voice we're looking for. It's like, okay, fine.
Do you know Laurel Lacey, when
Yeah.
I first started narrating, she told me she used auditions. This was back in the days when ACX had a lot of good stuff to pick. She used them as her warm up. She would audition for something every day before she started recording. And I started doing that because it really works because each audition has to be different. You have to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
And you have to like, and it gets your head into the record really fast into your recording. The problem is, I've got a strict rule. You are not allowed to submit the audition, Daniela, because just because it's a fun audition does not
Yeah.
mean it's a book that I
Yeah.
want to do. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing is, too, I mean, to go off on another tangent again, when people say, "Well, what are your percentages from auditions to that when you actually book the gig?" and some people answer, "Oh, I've done 100 auditions, and maybe I'll book one out of 100." And it's like the first thing that I do, the very first thing I do when I see a post like that, is I see if they have a profile on ACX. And if they have a profile on ACX, I will go and look at their profile, and I will listen to their samples. And by and large, most of the time, they're either very, very new, and they've selected like $50 to $100 per finished hour, which is just fucking ridiculous. I'm having a big fight with them about that. And they want to list everything that they've ever done in their lives, and they put their commercial demo on there, and they put all these other things on there, or they'll cut something that sounds like they recorded it in their bedroom, and
They're
because there's
not
a, yeah,
narrators.
no.
They're
and
just
and it's like, okay, you you have to learn things. You have to learn the things that you don't know before you
and
know what you don't
also
know.
it's not just a business.
Yeah.
That question, how many do you book per 100? What's the weekly vacation pay? What's the salary like? How much am I going to get? How much effort do I have to put in to get something out of it? Guess what, honey? You're not going to ever, ever, ever have the answer to that.
Well, I one time I got like, I think I got really, really arrogant, which I can do. And I said, okay, when I first started out, I think I booked my third audition. The first audition I sent in was for a series that R.C. Bray got, for crying out loud. So I didn't feel so bad about that. But he booked it, I didn't. And then when I listened to it, I know why he booked it and I didn't. Okay. Um, but I got my third one. And then I started auditioning, and it was like maybe one out of every six. And then it was one out of every three. And then it was like every one that I auditioned for, I was getting an offer for. And it was like, I can I can tell you that for sure, but that's not going to help you.
I know. And the
What's
arc
going to
is
help you is to study with somebody and get better at what you do,
it's and
then
change
you'll
you
book.
change. You change as a person.
Yes.
And not only that, but uh, I've been doing this 10 years and I'm changing again. And now I'm finding, having worked with indie writers, that like I just and I've never thought of the word arrogant, but with me, I get very impatient with things like, so basically, which is why I'm not a coach. It's, but, but the one thing working with indie writers has done with really, really good, I've been so blessed and lucky with the writers that I've worked with. It has made me less patient with the outside in everything outside in as opposed to inside out. And what I mean by that is inside out. I do an audition, you come back to me. Oh my God, this book that I've labored over, I heard this character and you made this character and you expressed how she felt this. I'm like, yes, I heard that in your writing. Oh my God, it's that is inside. And then I go in and I think, oh, I could do something I've never done before. What if this character, what if I really felt this, that conversation? And those, I was telling someone that today. I want to do that. I'm not saying I can do that all the time narrating, but those little highs, those little dopamine hits you get when you've, wow, that was it. Those little and you've got to have had those 100 times with Phantom when you know you've hit
Well,
it.
we talked about this before one time, but I call them peak experiences. And I think
Yeah.
in all the time that I was there, and I did 379 performances of that role, I think I had two that
But
I,
that's not we're doing audiobooks like every single day. I mean,
yeah.
you're being Phantom of the Opera. We're talking a whole higher peak than, but the the little dopamine hits, but these are kind of peak. They're flow. And the little dopamine hits I get
Yeah,
from that.
my dopamine hit is if I can get through an entire paragraph and not fuck up, I get a dopamine hit at that.
Yeah. Yeah, I get when I forget and I'm in flow, and then when I turn off and I go, wow. And it's happening more and more though. The more I do things I love, I'm at the end, I'm like, wow, wow. And then I go out and I go on Facebook, right? And somebody's like, how many hours do you have to work to be considered this? How many books do you have? And it's outside in. It's not inside out.
Mm.
And I know it sounds precious. I sound like one of those, I'm an actor. But that's what I care about. That's what drives me. And I've got this naive little part of my brain that thinks if I just keep hitting those flow moments and producing as much really good work as I can, eventually people will have to recognize me and love me and give me lots of money, right?
Well, I say this constantly, and I'm in an unusual situation. A lot of people do this as a hustle. A lot of people try to do it as a hobby. A lot of people try to do it. Um, you see the TikTok videos where you can make $20,000 a month doing audiobooks and blah 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 blah. No, but I I do it for a very simple reason. For me, is that Broadway's not knocking on my door. Film is not knocking on my door. TV is not knocking on my door. Voiceover is not knocking on my door. But I need to act. I have to act. I'm an actor. This is what I do. And I
Yeah.
know that I'm damn good at it. And this
Inside
is
out.
and this is the thing that gives me that venue. Even if
Yes.
it's, doing royalty share and doing stuff on spec and thinking that, I may never make money on this book at all. I've got one out there that hasn't sold a copy. And it was early on, but I did it because I didn't have anything else to do that month. But anyway, I do it because I need to act. I need
And
to
I,
be
and I'm
able to,
not throwing shade at people
yeah.
that need the money, but I am throwing shade at people that are only in it for the money. Because
Well,
guess
I
what?
mean, there's also the other extreme, not the other extreme. I don't really mean that, but why do people work? And you work, one, either you have the talent or you work two because you have the temperament to be easy to work with, even though you might not have the talent, but you can say all the words and put them in the right order and not make too many mistakes and be somewhat cogent and, turn your work in on time. It might not be great narration, but you're easy to work with. You get it done. And those are the people that are making the money, I think.
Yeah, and they fit in well. They
Yeah.
probably had lunch with the cheerleaders in school. And but I
Whatever it
and
is that they do. But I mean,
but I'm fine. But I'm fine with that. I'm fine. I'm fine. Really, I'm fine. I swear I'm fine.
fine. I'm fine.
No, but at this point, I honestly am fine with that. We do different jobs. We
Yeah.
do different jobs, and I'm not even gonna like throw shade at the marketers. That's fine. That's a different
Well,
avenue. It's a different. There's room for all of us in this business,
and I
but
mean, on top of
we're
that,
looking
to
for
go
different
off on
things.
another tangent, we've all done stuff that has not been particularly written well.
Yeah,
And
gender swap, space,
yeah,
sex,
but
aliens.
if you watch some film where it wasn't a particularly good script or a good story or anything, but there are actors that transcend the stuff, you
And I
know.
do like money. I mean, I have a
Yeah, well,
hot pink
money's
faux
good. Yeah.
fur coat coming now. So like, no, I didn't need three faux fur coats. But when it was hot, what's a girl to do? You know, plan for the winter. I need money. I like money. But
Money makes the world go round, the world go
oh,
round, the world go
Joel.
round. Money
But
makes the world go round.
I still, I do think that there have to be some people out there that remember what's important. And I do think that that's the whole thing. Everyone's so scared of AI and the world changing. I think the antidote to that is people that care about being an actor. I'm an actor, have a
Yeah.
little
Well,
pride.
this is my thing about AI too. I mean, another tangent. Like I said, I like series. Somebody posted an audition for like book two in this series that looked really, really interesting. And I went, I do my due diligence. I go and I look and say, okay, has anybody narrated book one, or is this a series? And then why aren't you using the original narrator? And I got two very interesting answers from this person. I asked, because it was a series and the first one was in audio. And I said, why aren't you using the original narrator? Oh, I went and had it done like virtual voice and it's not selling. So I wanted to have a real human for book two and see if it would. And I'm going, no, I don't want to be associated with anything like that, because he was trying to pull the books as a human narrator was doing it and pull the AI books off. And it was like, once it's been out there, no.
See, and I would jump on that, to be honest, because to me, you're a reformed character.
N-
Let me show you how it's
yes,
done,
but
babe.
not if they're leaving the first one up and it's going into the second one,
But
or
once
they're
they've let
leaving
me
all the
do the
rest of
book
them up
two,
while you've done book two.
as long as their numbers are okay, once they've let me do book two, they're going to love me so much, they're going to take down book one down and let me do book one too.
Well, that's what he implied, but I didn't want book one still there to
Yeah.
feed into me.
And fair enough. I respect that.
So I wanted to start with book one. I said, if you're going to pull these, let me start with book one, pull the rest of them. I'll do the rest of the series.
Oh, that's
But
actually a really good compromise. What'd he
yes,
say?
well, no, it didn't work out. But the same kind of thing happened with another series that I did. The author posted book two, and it was a trilogy. And I researched it, and I said, did you have a narrator for book one? No, I didn't have any narrator for book one, because he wasn't really confident in the first book. And I said,
Oh.
okay, let's do this, because I really like the story for two. Let me do one first. Let's see what happens with it. I'll start working on two while we're dealing with book one.
Because you want
And
box set potential
yeah,
is what
well,
you
that's what
want.
happened.
Yeah.
I did book one. I convinced him to let me do book one.
Yeah.
So we put that out there. I continued with book two and book three throughout the year, and then we combined it in a bundle, and it's one of my best sellers.
See, I find this part of the job I find hugely satisfying. I find it makes me a better narrator because I find that I go in and I really want to do
Well, I
justice to
wanted to
their
follow the
words.
story because I was coming in the middle of something, and I knew in book two I was coming in the middle of something, and I wanted to follow it from the beginning because
Yeah.
I wanted to find out how these characters grew and changed, and what happened, because it was a through line with this kid was growing up, and I wanted to see how this happened, but there was too much information in book one that needed to be there, which was why I needed to do it.
Yeah,
But
that's a
yeah,
smart. That was smart. That was
but it's one of my best sellers, and it's
but people
still.
are now everyone I have not heard the little snobby bit about royalty share in a long time.
I see it occasionally, but I always say I do not poo-poo royalty share, because especially if you're tied to it for 7 years and you've done your research and you've chosen your projects wisely, and you've done a good job, people are going to want to listen to it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think, maybe, kind of, sort
And you were worried that we'd have so many calls you wouldn't have anything to talk about.
Oops, I'm sorry. Wait a second. I gotta raise my
I've
cigarette
never
butt
had a
again.
guest fall off the chair before. Now
Wait.
that's a Okay, James,
I hit the wrong lever.
what are we
Oh,
going to
this
leave
is.
people with? This call feels really good. You've cemented a lot of things in my mind, and I respect your opinion. No, I respect your opinion because of your talent, because you're a hugely talented human
Oh,
being,
tell me more about my eyes.
and you're an actor. through and through. And
Enough about me. What do you think about me?
I respect the hell out of you.
Thank you.
And so hearing you mirror back some things that I thought makes me feel like I was right all along. Um,
It's sort of a
Advice. You got to give us advice, James. Give us one
advice.
thing to take away, if nothing else, from this call. What are we going to leave people with on YouTube for the
All
next
right,
6
a little bit
days?
unusual. Pay it forward, guys. If you know how to do something and somebody's struggling with it, pay it forward. Right, Jonathan?
I love that.
If you know how to
Actually, that's
help
the second
somebody,
time somebody said that to me today.
yeah,
Somebody,
if you know how to help somebody, help them. If you, I mean, I don't do it with everybody, but if I detect the talent and the drive and the desire and the willingness to accept what bullshit I'm dishing out, sure, but pay it forward.
but religion's, it's tithing, isn't it? Is that what they call it? Tithing. And it's twofold. They tithe, they give money regularly. They donate. I don't know who they tithe to. I don't, because I'm not religious. But when you do that, when you share generously from your heart, your skills, your talent, your time, your money, you're giving yourself and your subconscious a message that there's plenty.
And you live
That-
on in other people.
Yeah. And then they can give. If all of us did it, it would create a wave. You know, I love that. But I still think you should coach and charge a bit.
Spread the word around
Yeah.
when I have
James,
the time.
I think you can, yeah. For the audience that's going to be watching this on YouTube and completely without James' permission, his website is going to be in the bottom in the About section.
Okay.
So if you do want coaching,
You can put my email address in there too. I'll answer people.
yes, yes. Oh, no, not your email address. You're not allowed on
Oh,
YouTube.
no.
But
Okay. All
on
right.
definitely your website.
All right.
Definitely your
Well, the
website.
email address is on the website, so you can find it there. Do your
James,
research, people.
you are wonderful. And I couldn't think of a better group of people. Thank you so much, James. Thank you, Jonathan and Kim. Mwah! You're all the best.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.